Hi guys, my name is Alexus and welcome to Alexus After Bypass. I'm gonna just talk a little bit about myself and why I chose to have gastric bypass and just kind of some of those things that I noticed that were missed during my beginning appointments. So let's go ahead and let's get started. Grab some coffee or some tea if you want to just kind of relax. And I'll also be checking the comments section to give you enough update. And also, I am not a medical professional at all. I am just explaining to you my experience during this entire journey. It has been a very long journey, and I'll just kind of talk about my beginning thoughts um, up until I had it. And I'll try to also post some before and after photos as well, so that way you'll kind of be able to see what that journey kind of entails or look like for me. Okay, so why did I choose gastric bypass versus the sleeve versus the loop? Why did I choose the gastric bypass? So I chose gastric bypass because of some history, things that I dealt with. I knew that the gastric bypass was a little bit more restrictive. I knew I had to be more, um, what's the word I want to say? I knew I had to be more intentional about my decisions with food. I had to also be really, watching the labels. I wanted more accountability. Um, this is not a easy route. And I also talk about like some alienation, like with my family, like what their thoughts were about as well. It was just a hard decision to make. So I kind of start in the beginning. So growing up, I've kind of always been chubby. I want to say, like, even though I played sports, I was very motivated. And growing up in a community, in a culture, kind of like in a country setting, food is just the way of life. I mean, it just is what it is. My family, we ate because we were sad, glad, happy, mad. I mean, it was just all types of reasons why food was around. I'll say, like, I kind of did get to a point where I would have, family looking at me, or they might say, like, hey, that's enough. But growing up in the household that I always had, my grandmother would fix my plate. And if I wanted more, I always went back for more. And I was pretty much never told to stop. So I did develop like some food addictions. I started binge eating at a very young age. And I remember my grandmother used to like hide like cakes and stuff. And when they were out, I used to just like gorge. I mean, gorge. I would find anything that I could find to kind of stuff my mouth with. And I was going through a lot of like emotional things too. So that's kind of where it all started. When I got into grade school, let's say like middle school, I had a guy who called me fat, and I was constantly bullied a lot. And I started standing up for myself, and I followed him in the boys' bathroom and I punched him in the eye, because it's like, who are you to call me fat? So I kind of have always heard that word, and it was kind of always used just to beat me down or make me feel bad. And I kind of just went through life thinking that, oh, I'm just another fat person. I just really didn't have any self esteem or any care in the world about my weight. So it just really ballooned up. And let's fast forward a couple years. I'm like 18. I'm going to go off to college. And I remember getting on the scale, and the scale was like 350 pounds. And I was like, who is this person? But I like all of my labs and stuff will come back normal. I didn't have pre-diabetes. I didn't have high cholesterol, high blood pressure. I didn't have any of those things. And even though I didn't have those things, I felt like that was a reason for me to keep eating because I did not have those ailments. I didn't have those type of issues, and I just felt like invincible. You hear that thing when they're like, "Oh, it'll never happen to me." Well, honey, let me tell you, when I got into my 20s, couple years, let's say fast forward, I sat in a chair This was the realization for me. I sat in a chair. I kid you not. You know them plastic chairs that you see? When I tell you, before I could even sit down good, the leg snapped from underneath me. And I mean, everybody laughed. And I got up and laughed. But I was in so much pain. My knee was hurting, my back was hurting, and it was just the alienation. And I joined a group of girls, and we would start going shopping and stuff like that. Tell me why they on the junior missus side and I'm on the plus side. So 9 out of 10, I spent a lot of time by myself shopping, and it was like, why am I even going out with friends if we ain't even, the same size? So I really dealt with like a lot of things just surrounding around my weight. So I had been contemplating. I want to say the first time I heard about gastric bypass or weight loss surgery, my a relative of mine had this surgery, and she had lost a crap ton of weight, and she was looking good. Her confidence was a lot better, and I was like, maybe there's something that I want for myself. But when I mentioned it to my family, it was, oh, you're lazy. You can do it yourself. You're young. You don't have to worry about that. Just enjoy your life now. I was constantly hearing those thoughts in my head, is why it took so long for me to get gastric bypass, because of other people's preconceptions of what it is. So I was just kind of just eating. And I'm trying to also not like get off on track too, because I know it's kind of turning out to be a long video. So my 4 reasons was weight issue. The second one was rejection. And number 3 was about like food addiction. And number 4 was about infertility. So when we talk about weight issues, I want to hit more proudly on this. By any means, I was not a shy, low self esteem big girl. I wore the best of the best. I wore makeup. I had my nails done. I didn't have no problem with meeting any men over my weight. My weight issues came when it was time to go pick out those clothes. And I literally see something cute on the small side, and I go and look at it, and it's like a size, 14 or a size 12. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just go to the other side of the store and I'll find it in a size 24, 26. No, they did not have that. I was so tired of the prints that they were choosing. Me being also big, it was difficult for me to go in and try things on because it was just hot, and I was constantly sweating in these people's clothes, and I was just like, I was just completely turned off by that. And let's also talk about rides, because I was young, and I would go to amusement parks, and my skinny friends would be getting on these rides, and then I got a freaking weight limit. I mean, a weight limit. And people have a different way of not saying to you that you're a big person. So what they really do is they have you get on these rides, and then if you can snap in, then that kind of explains it. Let me tell you, I got on this huge roller coaster. Huge roller coaster. I was trying. I sat down in the chair and it just wouldn't buckle. People came over there trying to push it down. It wouldn't buckle. I'm sucking in on my weight. Wouldn't buckle. I mean, the humiliation of having to get up off the roller coaster, leave my friends, walk down a whole flight of stairs. And you know what I did? I could have said, you know what? I'm gonna make a change. Let me go pick up a salad or something. No, I went and ate 4 hot dogs. 4 hot dogs. Fries, a funnel cake, because I was so sad that I couldn't even get on that ride. And it was several rides that was like that. And I just honestly felt like I needed to make a change, like with the weight issues. So, number 2, let's talk about rejection. So, rejection was just a big thing when we talk about jobs. People don't really talk about this, even though they're not supposed to um, be discriminatory against you due to weight. It was jobs that I knew I was qualified for. I had the credentialing for it. I had the experience for it, but I did not hold the body image that these corporations were looking for. I also was a little tired walking around trying to show people things, and they just did not see me in the light that I saw myself in. So I did get a lot of rejection around jobs. Promotions. I was passed up due to that as well. Even though I was a hard worker, I got passed over because of my weight. And that's just really what it is. And that's just the raw truth of what happened. And number four was really food addictions. And I would say this kind of, I had got a therapist at this time because I realized that my weight was really getting big. And I just would find myself eating dozens of donuts in the Krispy Kreme parking lot because I just felt like, damn, you know, don't nobody, no one cares about me. And I just felt like food was just that embodiment that I needed. So I was eating everything. I found a little Indian spot where it wasn't that expensive, and I would go there 3 or 4 times a week for like a buffet because I just constantly felt alienated from my friends and family. And for the longest time, like I used to get to the point where I would sit on things and they would break. And that, like I said, was a big, huge realization for me where I would fall or I was constantly put, like the talk of town in friend groups. So what did I do? Instead of saying, you know what, let me take control of my life. Let me talk more to my therapist about this. Let me get into a church group. Let me get around more like the people. What I did, I became reclusive. I stayed in my room. I got rid of my TV. I got rid of mirrors. I didn't want to see how I looked. And I lived that way for a couple years where I honestly felt like I didn't want to see myself because don't nobody else want to see me, So I had really, really low self-esteem dealing with that. And if you are dealing with any of these things that I'm mentioning too, just know that you're not alone, that there are platforms out there that'll be able to help you get through this. You are definitely not alone. And don't feel like it's just a last ditch effort. Now, my last talking point was about infertility. Infertility, I didn't really see this as an issue until I got married. Um, and we were trying, 5 whole years. Test after test after test after test. There was no, like, I had PCOS. I had a diagnosis of PCOS, but I didn't have issues with, I mean, all types of scans you think about. I had all those scans, and they all came back normal. What ended up happening is I had a hormonal imbalance where my body chemically did a birth control because of the weight. And it was just getting those negative pregnancy tests after negative pregnancy tests after negative pregnancy tests, going to all these doctors, spending all this money we didn't have for somebody to tell me something was wrong. And every single doctor said I needed to lose weight. But if you are someone like me who has constantly been told that through primary care, through family, through friends, through just rejection of going to, try on clothes and just eating food, it's like you constantly hear that and it's like, what else? All you gonna do is say that I'm big, okay. But and then somebody bigger than you that done had a baby. And those were the thoughts that were in the back of my mind, which made me feel like I was justified in eating the things that I wanted to eat. So, again, I just kind of want to wrap up this video. My 4 reasons why was just weight issues, rejection, food addiction, and infertility. Um, and like I said, this has been an overall journey for me. I'm still on this journey. I had my gastric bypass a year and 2 months ago. I've lost 130 pounds during this whole transition. And I'm going to talk to you guys more about how I dealt with my food insecurity, my food addictions, my self-esteem, because those are things that you have to work on. And you also have to work on yourself and also know that you are that person. It doesn't matter who around you might not think you are that person. You have to tell yourself that because this is still a fight. A lot of people think if you just cut back from the table that you are good. It's more than just that. It's more than just cutting back from the table. You have to be more in tune with things that are going on in your gastric bypass journey. So again, if you like this comment, my name is Alexus. Alexus After Bypass. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and share. And like I said, put information down in a comment section, and I'll be able to kind of talk to you and walk you through these videos, and just kind of why, just things that people really just don't talk about in the beginning. Okay, well, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, whatever time it is. Please tune in and watch me. And the one last thing, the reason why I created these videos are because I did not see content like what I was searching for, which is another thing. So bear with me. I'm kind of approaching 16 minutes. Ugh. So I'll be checking in with you guys later. Bye.